Tell me a little bit about how you got started. Do you remember what your first professional role was?
Yes, my first professional role was a very, very small part in a movie called Mumford by Lawrence Kasdan. I went to high school. I was very good friends with his son. We did an improv show in high school, and Lawrence Kasdan came and watched and saw us. And actually, it was me and Jason Ritter and Zoe Deschanel were all in it. And we all got parts in this movie. And I had a very, very tiny part. Actually, it had no lines, but he ended up letting me improvise a little. So I had, I think, maybe half a line smoked out of a bong, which I had to have my father there with me because I was 17. So when they were talking about the logistics of smoking out of a bong, I had to feign ignorance. Being a 17-year-old, I think, you have. When I was teaching the prop guys about how to actually hold the bowl in, and my dad was like, "Whoa, you don't?" And I said, "No, no, no. This is just from acting class. I know this." So it was slightly awkward, but that was a long time ago. Yeah.
Do you remember what role you got your SAG card with?
Yes, I got my SAG card with a role in Undeclared, the television show that Judd Apatow created, and actually, I owe that totally to him. I had auditioned for Undeclared. It was a friend of mine had a manager. I'm from LA, so I came back from. I'm sure we'll get around to some of these questions, but I was at NYU and I came back for a summer. My friend had a manager. They were They were looking for nerdy, young, unique, strange people to audition, and she introduced me to her manager, and her manager got me an audition with Allison Jones, the casting director. Allison that day called the agency Endeavor and told them to sign me, and it was all within a few days. I ended up getting a manager and an agent, and I went pretty far with the Undeclared auditions, and I did not get the role that I auditioned for. And then months later, Judd called me and said, "I wrote you a role in the pilot," and I couldn't believe it. So I ended up playing a part in the pilot, and I didn't make enough money to pay my SAG entry fee, which is, I think, the way it tends to go. So, yeah, I was living at home, and that was my entry.
So I read that your mom was a casting director.
Yeah.
Was that helpful to you? Did she give you tips about how to audition or things like that?
I mean, it was. I think I refused to even. It's your mom, so her tips would be like, "Really, that's what you wore to an audition? Okay." So I sort of shied away from you want to do it on your own. I think in some way, but I definitely would ask her certain questions, and it was strange to imagine her on that side of it. When I started going into those rooms, it was like you don't. I didn't know my mom as a casting director, so. But yeah, definitely growing up around the business gives you a little bit of insight into it. But yeah, it's scary though. I mean, it's scary. Even being somewhat familiar with it, it's you see the pitfalls too a lot clearer.